Big news yesterday was that Secretary of State Antony Blinken would be going to Beijing. Big news today is not so fast. He's postponed it. And that's because of that Chinese supposed spy balloon, which was spotted over the United States. There's been a briefing going on right now at the Pentagon with Air Force Brigadier General Pat Ryder. It's ongoing right now, but here's a little bit of what he said so far.
While we won't get into specifics in regards to the exact location, I can tell you that the balloon continues to move eastward and is currently over the center of the continental United States. Again, we currently assess that the balloon does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground at this time, and we'll continue to monitor and review options.
To bring us up to speed on what we know and don't know, we welcome now Washington correspondent Annmarie Hordern. So how much do we know about this and the significance of this balloon?
Well, listening to some of what Brigadier General Pat Ryder was also telling reporters is that they believe it will maintain in U.S. airspace for the next couple of days. A lot of questions we still are asking, of course, David, because Beijing came out with a statement today saying they're very regretful, and this was about doing research when it comes to climate. The U.S. really does not believe that, and they maintain that this is a spying balloon. There's been a lot of questions about why they didn't brief the public earlier, because the president was briefed from the Department of Defense, Lloyd Austin, on Wednesday. We're only obviously finding out some of this information now. And questions about why it wasn't shot down. But the Pentagon remains that this would have too much of debris and potentially poses some risks. But what you're hearing from on top of Capitol Hill from the likes of Senator Marco Rubio, who is the top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee, is saying that it should have been shot down. But all of this, David, also one more big question in the geopolitical sphere is when will Secretary of State Blinken make that visit to China? We know that it's postponed right now, but they did say that at an appropriate time he would be visiting Beijing.
I'm going to add one more question, Annmarie, that I don't quite understand. Clearly, we knew that balloon was up there, and yet they went ahead and announced, actually, that the Secretary of State would go to Beijing, and then they pulled it back. Was this mainly a response to the Republican reaction up on Capitol Hill?
Well, it remains to be seen because no one has said that publicly, but that's what the tea leaves really say, doesn't it? We had Kevin McCarthy coming out talking about the fact that this is a reason why we cannot be trusting or really be dealing with the Chinese, and also called for another Gang of Eight meeting. We do know that the White House did get the staff of those Gang of Eight members, the top leadership on the Hill, together to brief them on this. And then you had the likes of Representative Mike Gallagher, who's going to be leading this committee, this sole committee's whole purpose, talk about risks of China, saying that even though there was these political overtures from Beijing, that it still maintains that the Chinese Communist Party has not changed their policy. So for Blinken to go in that political environment, it would have been incredibly toxic for them domestically.
I should say, thank you so much for the reporting from the White House.